Donnie and Dolly. The team is supported by ableauctions.ca. Closing your business? We can help.
All of our guests today, including Craig Button, standing by on this Tuesday, brought to you by the Bayside Oceanfront Resort. An exciting spring and summer season awaits at the Bayside, including a soon-to-be-completed outdoor pool fully equipped with ocean view cabanas alongside the #1 ranked coffee shop in Parksville, the Bay Cafe. 250-248-8333 to book your reservation and mention Donnie and Dolly for 10% off your nightly room rate. Also, grab some Donnie and Dolly merch now on sale at the Bayside. He's back from Switzerland and the World Under-18 Championships. TSN Scouting Director Craig Button. Craig, thanks for doing this. How was the trip?
That was fantastic. And, you go to Switzerland. It was a nice setup. Everybody, really with respect to the international hockey community, it was nice to spend time with everybody and to have that opportunity to be, person-to-person contact. And as we see in these tournaments, they get better as time goes on. And the final day, bronze medal game and gold medal game. What two fantastic games, and certainly a lot of excitement with the entire tournament. So really positive, and now we move on to NHL playoffs.
Should Canada be satisfied with the bronze, Craig, given what was over there?
I think so, Donnie. I mean, it was a team that was capable of competing for a gold medal, and they had 9 players returning from their Hlinka Gretzky team that won a gold medal. But the 2 best teams in the tournament played in the gold medal, and it went to overtime. And you look at it, Canada got outscored 15-2 by Sweden. No, it wasn't accidental. Sweden was that much better than Canada. And Canada was undefeated in the rest of their games. So it tells you that they fit into the right spot in the tournament. So I think the way they found a way to win the bronze medal, they had some injuries. Carson Bjarnason went out, then they lost Callum Ritchie. And so I think just the way they did. But, anybody that's watching Max Celebrini play, I have swung. Right? When I watch Max Celebrini play and I watch Cole Eiserman play, 2 great players. But the way Celebrini plays the game, like Jonathan Toews, right now he has to be the #1 guy for the 2024 draft. He was brilliant. He was Canada's best player.
Canuck fan, Macklin Celebrini. Devils over the Rangers 4-0 Game 7. What did you think of the Trouba hit on Timo Meier?
Yeah, I thought it was. I thought within the context of the rules in the NHL, it's a clean body check, and we can discuss, and it is a different discussion about should there be head contact allowed. The International Ice Hockey Federation doesn't allow it for the most part, but the NHL right now does. I go all the way back to 2010, 2011 with those blindside hits on Mark Savard, and I forget who the other one was on, but David Booth. And Colin Campbell said, do we want this hit in the game? That's what he said. He said, do we want that type of hit in the game? So in that play, I think it's within the rules of the NHL. It's an allowable hit. And I think it's fine in that regard. The question now we ask ourselves, is that something we want in the game? I want physical play. I want body checking. But much like football, do we have to make sure that we don't impact the head? Because that we know the impact. We know what the effects are on head contact. So how do we slow the game down a little bit? How do we make sure that there's still physical play, but with the head being protected? That's a different discussion. I think that the right call was absolutely made with respect to the way the rule book is written with that hit.
Craig, our first time to talk to you about what happened in Boston. Best regular season in NHL history. They're out in round 1. Did you see that coming? How shocked were you?
I was shocked, Rick. I watched Game 6 in its entirety from Switzerland. And, you have the 3 stars of the game. And I'm watching that game and I'm thinking, who are the 3 duds? Who are the 5 duds? And players that you wouldn't expect. Linus Ullmark was terrible. Charlie McAvoy was terrible. Patrice Bergeron was terrible. And you're going who is playing in these players' jerseys? And how can they have such a fall off in their play? But it wasn't just those 3. Connor Clifton had a tough Game 6. And then you start to go through the lineup. And what I would say is whatever could go wrong did go wrong at the wrong time for the Boston Bruins. And, the Florida Panthers I think they sensed. I think they sensed they had a team that was vulnerable, and they had to go and win 2 games in Boston. But I think by the time they got to Game 7, I think the Florida Panthers' confidence was pretty high. And if you break it down to one thing, the goaltending, Jennings Trophy winning goaltending for the Boston Bruins. Oh boy, was it bad in the playoffs versus Florida, and that's not going to get you anywhere. That type of goaltending.
Craig, but a lot of people in Toronto are wishing for Florida. They think it's an easier route, but preview that series for us. I don't think it's going to be a sweep for the Maple Leafs.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to be a sweep at all. So, Rick, you're just a young guy. Donnie and I will remember this. You'll have to go look up the history.
Well, hold on a second here, Craig. I'm not that old.
I didn't say you're that old. I didn't say. I said, Rick, you're younger than Donnie and I. We're young in spirit. We don't look like
there you
age.
go. Okay,
right. Yeah. So, 1994, Rick. 1994.
Yes.
Our team in Dallas. We dusted the St. Louis Blues in 4 games. We dusted them. It wasn't even close. And we're licking our chops. Vancouver and Calgary, Game 5, Game 6, Game 7, double overtime. Pavel Bure scores that fantastic overtime winner. And they come down to Dallas. And we're licking our chops. Oh, boy, we got this team. They dusted us like we were an American Hockey League team. The fact that it even got to 5 games was a miracle because they were so much better than us. The Toronto Maple Leafs better be leery of the Florida Panthers for that exact reason. First of all, down the stretch, they were in playoff mode. They got to find a way to win 3 games where if they don't, they go home. That was the Vancouver Canucks. And forget about whipping our butts in the second round of the playoffs. They went all the way to Game 7. They were down 3-1, and then they'd go and take it all the way to Game 7. That's what the Toronto Maple Leafs, despite winning this series, a stronger Toronto Maple Leafs team against a weaker Tampa Bay Lightning team than last year, weren't as good as the Toronto Maple Leafs team last year that lost in Game 7. The Leafs better get their game in order because Florida is a formidable opponent.
Yeah. Okay, and Craig, before I let you go, very, very quickly, Kraken and Dallas, of course, around here, we're talking a lot about Seattle. Do people underestimate the Dallas Stars? 108 points, and then they took care of Minnesota as well.
I think they do underestimate them. And, for the Colorado Avalanche, full marks to Seattle Kraken for, really pushing the Colorado Avalanche over the ledge. And, Colorado didn't get enough from too many players in the lineup. They had some injuries, which affected them. Dallas doesn't have that problem. They have the best goaltender remaining in the Western Conference. In fact, they have the best goaltender remaining in the entire playoffs, in my opinion. And they have a lot of depth. Their defense, Miro Heiskanen, I think he's an under-the-radar, brilliant defender in the National Hockey League. And Seattle's quick and they're fast and they're going to push you, but I think Dallas has got too much. I think Dallas is a team that could find themselves deep into the playoffs, deep. And when I say deep, I'm talking competing for a Stanley Cup final. Will it not, or Stanley Cup? Will it be easy? No. But I agree with you, Donnie. I think they may be a little bit under the radar. And Peter DeBoer's record is he takes teams and gets them to the Stanley Cup final in his first year coaching.
Yeah. Craig, good to have you back on North American soil. I know Rick likes your shirt.
Craig, I don't know if you think I'm 30 years old, but I'm over 50 and under 55. I'm not far behind you guys. Not far behind you.
You're not far behind Craig. I think I got you beat by a few years, Craig.
Like you, Craig, I'm not 20 years old. I look 20.
Okay,
I look
listen,
20.
1994 was 30 years ago. So, if you started watching hockey when you were 6, that would make you 36. So basically, I look at you as a 40-year-old. So you're aging very well.
Thank you.
Well. So
Thank
just
you.
Keep doing, and if you want to look as good as Donnie and me when we're at that age, just keep doing what you're doing.
Yeah.
Thanks, Craig. Appreciate it.
Take care.
You bet. Craig Button.